crown me, you crown me.
Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. We've been away, hey, just 1 week, but we needed the break.
Yes.
You know,
Recuperate.
recuperate. Load shedding also played a factor.
Oh, that's right.
There's just a whole lot of electricity issues and stuff, but we're back. And today, what are we talking about?
Today, this was a touch and go subject, I think there's a lot, but all the topics we talk about, they go very deeply. But today we're going to talk about finances.
Money, money, money.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so specifically, what exactly about finances are we talking about?
Okay, so I think what we wanted to chat about, following the polls that I always have to ask what do you guys want to hear from us, also from comments and everything like that. I think there was the whole, how do finances affect us? How have they affected us? Good, bad, the good, the ugly. I think it's important for us to share the good, the ugly, the
Like
brilliant
the
times,
different
the highs, the
times,
lows.
okay.
Also how careers can link into the finances.
Okay, so what are we starting with? Careers or are we starting with the highs
I
and the
don't
lows?
know. Take your pick.
Okay, looking at our journey
Okay, do you want to talk about our journey?
or at our financial moments.
Yes, our financial
Okay,
journey.
let's go. Let's
Okay.
go.
What do I remember? What do you remember?
I mean, I've had seasons where I was the breadwinner, and I've had seasons where you were the breadwinner.
Okay, right in the beginning of our dating stage,
Yeah.
the finances were very much lopsided, obviously. I think financially I earned more than you.
Yeah. Even I think, at the beginning you didn't know.
Yes. So right in the beginning, that's what was happening. But we went on, I guess, because I'm just naturally that person who doesn't go after
The
finances.
yeah.
Even in my dating stages, I don't think I ever went for someone because of finances. So the finances never led us coming together. I
yeah.
think that's a very important part because I think there's a lot of relationships where couples are together because, hey, when my guy, you led with finances.
Now, which
You spoiled me. Now I'm not talking about the dates. I'm talking about
obviously
how
they're
like
leading, like
yes,
you're leading with the money aspects to say,
yes,
look, I can buy you this, I can do
yes.
this,
There's like
and it's not necessarily based on the emotional connection or
yes,
the love element. You know what I
yes.
mean? I think there's a scripture for that, right?
There is
There is.
already. Yes.
No, okay. I'll get. Do you want to get into it later or now?
Okay. You get the scripture.
Okay, so it's the Matthew 6:24.
Okay.
Where you can't serve both.
Oh, two gods.
Yeah, you can't serve two gods. You can't serve God and money.
Yeah.
And if we go to 1 John 4, verse 8, where it tells us that he who loves God knows knows God. Oh gosh, I lost it.
Yeah,
Okay.
money homework.
I lost it
Homework,
again.
Mabasa.
But along
Homework.
those lines, man, he who knows God does not know love, for God is love.
Yes.
You know? So when you go back to that scripture, it tells you about love versus money.
Okay.
So obviously already there's a comparison because you can't serve the two. You're serving money or you're serving love. So in this particular case, if you're obviously gonna go for love, you're serving love versus if you're going for money, you serve
course.
money. So that's where I think even within relationships, you got to look at what are you going in for? Are you going in for love?
Yes.
Or are you going in for money? Because essentially that now becomes your foundation.
My thing is, I don't think people
Look at it like that.
say, hey, I'm going for money kind of a situation. But you could be with this amazing guy and he doesn't drive the car that you want him to drive.
I guess.
And he doesn't akabhedi, like there's no allowance. Do you get where I'm coming from? But with us specifically, we realized that it actually had nothing to do with
I think we
what
had
you
more
had.
fun. We just had
Yes,
so much fun.
definitely. Oh my word.
I think our beginning, like the dating stages, were so
much
fun.
fun.
Like it wasn't about money. It was like, hey, let's go out.
I miss those stages.
No, you know, look,
Continue.
you have to continue. You know, you can't. You know, you have to develop. So you're not always gonna stay in that one spot. You know, but yeah, look, I think the earlier days were just, hey, what are you doing? You know, whether we're grabbing an ice cream or having a date
Yeah.
at wherever we went to,
Northcliffe, our spot.
Northcliffe. But the first one was at the Four Seasons. The
Yo,
Valentine's
this
Day one.
guy. Wait. You remember we used to get McDonald's and go sit up on the hill?
Oh, Northcliffe Hill.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about
Oh,
the simple
you mean
things.
the basic one? All right. I thought you meant the restaurant.
Wow.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the things. But also, just coming back to it, I've got my married friends who would always go back, post something, and say, "Hey, you know, I had the best date." Like, or she'll come back and she'll tell me, like, this one specific friend of mine, "Yo, I had the most amazing day with my husband today. We were sitting, we parked under the tree, bought a chicken, sledding over with a Coke, and we're eating. That's lunch, you know, and they're having like the best times. Do you know what I mean? Um, Obviously, um, ideally, they wouldn't turn down a trip to Cape Town, or a lunch in Camps Bay. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the whole point is to how do we handle the good times, the bad times, the mediocre times, because finances are a serious test in relationships.
Yeah. True.
So when we first met, obviously you had your own things. Now when two things come together, when two pockets have to come together, two brains must now try figure out the finances.
Yeah.
You remember the one time we were speaking about how, you know, it's such a thing, yes, this financial thing. So say I was saying I've seen so many couples like fall apart because of finances. So my example to you was, say out of nowhere we land just an extra 100K in our account.
Okay.
And then you say, babe, let's actually go buy that small car. And I'm like, no, babe. And you see, if we can pay rent or if we can do this for the next, do you understand? Then I'm doing this and this and this. And then you go, no, we need the car. But because obviously there's those two different opinions on what should happen in terms of what we should do in terms of finances, then say as a supporting wife, okay, never mind. Say you as a supporting husband.
Yeah.
You come in, you're like, okay, babe, it's fine. Let's let the car go. We'll do what you think we must do. And then somewhere along the lines, obviously 100,000 is gone now. Now we're fighting because you feel, had we bought in that small Anyana car, we would be generating money now. It was you who was thinking for the now. Do you get where I'm coming from? So what I wanted to know is, how do we gel the two different, and it's the truth. We're not always going to agree on how to spend our money.
I think it's always good to have a conversation.
Yes.
One, you know, and listen to the other person's views on it. You know what I mean? And you share your views and
Yeah.
weigh it out. And I think in that kind of a situation, obviously, one, you need to hear each other out, and two, you
Yes.
can't have egos involved. You know, like you need to allow and say, okay, why do you feel like we should go this route? You know, and share like, okay, what's our short term goal? What's our long term goal? What's our medium term goal? Because I think when we're both aligned and we both understand that, okay, here's our goal to go from this point, but here, this is where we're going. Is now this decision going to help us get to where we want to get to? And I think that's where the problem. You know, a lot of the times, let's talk. Where do we see ourselves in 5 years' time? I mean, I think it used to be one of my like annoying things where you watch like these dating shows and they'd ask like, what is your 5 year plan? What is
Yeah.
your, you know, your 10 year plan? But I think it's very important to have a vision as a couple to say, okay, where are we going? So that when it comes to decisions, do those decisions align with the vision that
Yeah.
we both have? You know what I mean? So for example, now I'll shift it to careers now.
Yeah.
We've had this chat. Like,
Yeah.
if I get a job offer, for example, overseas, are we going or are we not going? You know?
Does one of us go?
Yeah, exactly.
Does the other one
So now,
stay? Like, yeah,
and then
it's
it
a
goes
lot.
back to saying, what's our vision?
Yeah.
What's the vision? What's our long-term vision that we've always discussed for ourselves? You know what I mean? Does it align with it? Does it allow us to still continue? Or do we have to rediscuss the vision and the goals that we want to achieve?
I wanted to touch on the vision, because it doesn't always go according to plan. Do you get where I'm coming
No,
from? It
obviously,
doesn't
there's always hiccups and everything.
and also it doesn't always go according to hey, this is the vision. I mean, there's cripples. We know this kind of a situation.
Plenty,
But
yeah.
my thing is what I've noticed, and this I know because we've gone through this so many times, is that are we really aware of the commitments we have made to each other? Now, it's also coming back to the career thing. When we first met, you were always visionary. You were a businessman,
Still,
but here's my
changed.
point. Do you get where I'm coming
Yeah.
from? You were a businessman. And now the thing is, as much as it was difficult for you to explain to everyone else that, guys, I can't do the office thing. Do you get where I'm coming from? It's not in me, kind of a situation. Then I come in and I'm like, oh, I love you as you are. You know, taking you in, my baby, kind of a situation. 5 years down the line, hey man, this business is not coming through. Are you still, do you get where I'm coming from? Have you now
Yeah.
become a lazy man?
because
Because do you get where I'm
come
coming from?
to-
So that's why I'm like, are people aware of exactly what it is that they are committing to? The good, the bad, the ugly. Hey, I love you as you are. It's nice in the beginning because you've got your independence. And you do have your independence.
time
You can
comes-
pick up the phone and say, hey, pops, Gombela.
you know,
You
yeah.
know, you can even call friends. But now when you're in a marriage,
It
it's a
becomes
thing
tough,
of,
yeah, tougher.
babe, I've got this person whom I usually trusted, and he's like, who's that? And he's like, no, I'm not feeling that. It's that guy. No, you get where I'm coming from, or whatever
if
it
I have
is.
like a female friends that used to have that
Exactly.
the borrowing thing, but we don't borrow though.
Yeah, but we don't. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
For us, it's one
Rather
of those
give away
things
the
that we
money.
don't
Yeah.
we don't go outside of. But to explain that further for other people who may not understand why, because we feel that God, like we're in a space where we really should just trust God.
No, besides that, money is spiritual as well.
Of course.
You know, like
Of course.
we've touched on that, you know, again, when you go back to that Matthew 6:24 scripture, you know, where it says you can't serve two gods.
Yes.
You know, money now becomes a god to certain people.
Of course.
So, you know, so already there's a clash there because first commandment is thou shalt not have any other idols
Yes.
or gods besides. No, I think it's like the
It
second.
is the first. Worship only one God.
Yes, I'm a jealous god. Yeah. so now it becomes that. So the things around money, not to say money is on its own is evil, but
Yeah.
the things around it, you know, and that people have made it a god.
Of course.
It becomes an issue. So that's why, like, in terms of borrowing,
Yeah.
it's for us, it's a thing of would rather give you the money than borrow it.
Yes.
Because of that. So yeah,
But also, I wanted to, because it just crossed my mind now. The scripture of your heart is where your treasure lies.
yeah.
So important also, because above every single thing, yes, money is an important factor. Yes, we need it. Do you get where I'm coming from? But also linking for me, your heart is where your treasure lies for me, also comes to the scripture of the love of money is the root of all evil. You know what I mean? Now, the world has made us believe that money is bad and you must be humble. Don't wear your Gucci because this and this and this and this. And you know, that's not what we're saying. We're saying the love of money is
yeah.
the root of all evil. Now we've gotten to a point where, like what I'm saying, finance is affecting people's households and marriages. It's because who are you actually loving? Do you know what I mean? With that other example that I was giving, when you might argue with me and say, hey, that car. We're now arguing about the car. Do you get where I'm coming? Now you have made money a third party in your marriage. You know? And you remember we were speaking about how, financial infidelity, where we don't notice these things. You've made money a third party in your marriage. You do it by external people asking internally in the household, hey, Vuk, can I borrow you money? Can I borrow money? Now, when you didn't come via me to say you are giving Mang 10,000, and now I'm like, my nigga, you know what? And the thing is, in that instant, what exactly would we be fighting about? The money
That we
or
give
the
away.
lack thereof communication, which is a form of cheating to me. It's a form. It's infidelity.
To some, and I
You've
think-
taken. You see. So we're making money. We're making career. A third party in our relationships. Do you get where I'm coming from? Yes, we can talk about the egos. The truth of the matter is, and I used to say this a lot when I was single, a man's ego lies in the pocket, guys. It really does lie in the pocket.
There's quite a few. It's like, you know, but me, I've been through different seasons in my
Yeah.
life. So to get to a point where whatever I needed I knew it comes from within.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't define me at all because I know, look, at the end of the day, for me, regardless of what I'll do, I'll become successful.
But my love, tell the truth.
Yeah.
My friends, if
No, obviously, you are
if there's-
the.
but you
Look,
see that's what I'm
I
saying.
do because, like, yeah, I do get frustrated at times. It's like,
You know, and so I have a friend of mine actually who was like, we were actually chatting about this money and ego and career and whatnot, because she holds a bigger position than what her boyfriend does. So she's basically the handler of things. So I think what I never said to her is always encourage the husband to be part of the decisions. Do you get where I'm coming from?
oh, when, like, you, as the woman, you're making more money.
Yes. And if I was bringing in more, now all of a sudden I'm walking into the house, or I've chosen the car now. I'm walking in, hey, and this is the
But
thing.
it shouldn't
may
be
be
limited.
intentional.
I think it should be both ways, though, as well.
But babe, she's naturally earning more than him.
Yeah,
Do you get where I'm coming from?
but I'm saying, even when the roles are reversed, if he's earning more, it
Yes.
should also be a thing of just include your person in the decision making.
But I think as women, not that we don't care, but I think we don't really voice it out as much as, or we don't show it as much as the guy would. Like I said, the man's ego is in the pocket. For instance, if she came home and she literally just purchased a BMW, ne?
Yeah.
And maybe, you know, out of goodness, to say, hey, babe, I'm surprising us. And say they were talking about this car for like a while, but because she bought it,
It's an issue.
yes, do you get where I'm coming from? And even if it would be a surprise, why doesn't she say, hey, babe, I was thinking of this and this and this and this? You know, we spoke about it. Then allow him at least to choose a color.
Oh, go with him. You know,
That's
be
what
part
I'm
of the process.
saying.
Yeah, in a marriage though,
Yes, that's
not Jolo.
no, definitely
Okay,
not there. But that's what I'm saying, Uguti. Those are the small things that we take for granted. Marriages are flopping because we're
Yeah,
not.
but you see, there's also a lot of issues around the whole finances things. Because as we're talking now, it just hit me now. There's trust issues as well.
Yes.
But that also becomes.
Oh, yes.
That comes from how you led your marriage or your relationship, basically. So,
Okay.
like, how did I win you over? Was it
Oh, yeah.
through money or was it through love?
Yeah.
Because obviously, I'll have an issue if I led with money. Because it's like, what you think you're better than me now?
Oh.
You see, or you went and bought a car, so you're
got
better than me. You know what I mean? So if I'm obviously always used to leading with money,
Ego.
yeah, but that's where ego comes
Yes.
in. You know what I mean? So now it's that thing of, oh, okay, I clearly feel like I get touched that you bought a car,
hear
and
you.
I'm unhappy for you
I hear you.
because, oh, wow, what now? Because I don't have a decent job, and
So true.
you know, now you're throwing it in my face.
So true.
Kind of a thing. So which then leads to other things.
It's so true.
It's just the management of that and having those communications. But again, what's the foundation?
But also, just another example. All of these things leading to a competitive spirit within
Yeah.
the marriage.
Yeah,
Have
it's
you
the
seen
competition. Yeah, like a lot.
that? Woo!
Where
No, I don't even want to talk
it's
about
like,
that.
you're like, oh, I've got a good job. Now you can do everything I can do, kind of a thing. But that goes back to the roles again, kind of a thing. You
Yeah.
know, where we.
But also, again, you know, we're talking about biblical principles.
Yes.
We're talking about biblical principles, applying them into our marriage, and all of that. Those things are extremely important because now I remember when we were going through premarital counseling, and then there comes the stage of advising on in which form of marriage must we go into.
Yeah, COP
Community
or
or property
anti-
or this and this and this and this
Yeah.
and this. So obviously we did every single bit of advice that we could have received. But I remember one of them, the crux of them being in Christianity. Now what I'm saying from the biblical principle, what's yours is mine. What's
Because
mine. Do you
at
get
the
where
end
I'm
of the
coming
day,
from?
yeah, because we become one.
Yes.
You know, so right now, if I have another side of me and you have your own side,
Yeah.
are we truly one?
Yes.
You know, so when you look at it like that,
Ooh, so deep.
yeah, it's tricky though with the world that we live in, because
know.
I think, like, again, I think it also boils down to trust. Can you trust?
I get you.
You
Okay,
know.
so we must sum it up.
Okay, close it off.
I want to say in closing, when it comes to finances, remember the what in fact, take it right back to the drawing board. Remember why you got married. Remember the vows you said to this person. Do you know what I mean?
Communicate your goals and visions.
Yes, communicate the goals and visions, and those change as time changes. As life throws one curveball, those things are going to change. But keep the communication flowing. What's the other one? Trust.
Yeah, but that comes through with communication, and what did you say the first one was?
Just remembering why
Why
you were
you
with.
started,
Yeah.
yeah. So obviously, like I said, so the trust element kind of comes in here
Okay.
as to why you're together. So
Yeah.
I mean, if you're together when you were broke,
That's true.
or like at the beginning, why did you fall in love with that
Yeah.
person, with or without money?
Yeah.
Would you still be
Just
with this
remove the
person?
money aspect.
Yeah, just
Get back to
understand and say,
basics.
okay, what do I love about this
Yeah.
person? You know, so remind yourself of that, and obviously, are we aligned with the vision?
Of course. Now I learned some things today. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in this week. We hope we were. It's a lot to talk about. We really hope we went all over the place.
Yeah, there's a lot of topics. I mean, within this
Yes.
topic alone, so little things that branch out. But for this week, I think that's that. You
Okay.
know,
Please remember to like, subscribe, comment,
and
share, please share with your other people that may be needing this video or this bit of chat. And yeah,
see you next week.
bye.
I am who you crown me. You crown me.